Howdy. Welcome to what we are for now calling the Western Wilds. So this is a game which takes place on a very different world to the one that our heroes from the Grizzleverse have been used to. On the world of Toril, the last few years have been difficult for the Sword Coast of Faerun. Giants have run rampant, crushing and consuming everything in their wake. Infernal betrayal led to an entire city being dragged down to the Hells. An attempt was made to bring the Scaled Tyrant herself into the Prime Material Plane. But in every case, a group of heroes stepped up to defeat the evil and restore balance. The divine equilibrium restored. For most people of the Sword Coast, life is no different than it's ever been. In Tribor, Golden Fields, Phandalin, people till the fields and tend to their cattle. In Baldur's Gate, Mirabar, and Silverymoon, the bustling cities are alive with traders and merchants. In the returned Elturel, a shattered people try to heal a shattered city. But time heals all wounds, and the Sword Coast has time enough for now. A few quiet years of peace spread over Faerun like a salve on an old wound, and those perceptive enough to notice are grateful. It's the early hours of the morning, just north of the town of Yarta. In the midst of a stone fortress sits a wizard's tower. At the top of the tower is an observatory of sorts. It's abandoned at this time of the morning, but the astrolabes and orreries still hum and rotate, hovering in the centre of the room. The glass spheres reflect images on their interior surfaces, ever changing and shifting with images of the myriad potentialities of creation. Flashes of other worlds play projected onto the walls of the Divinarium, worlds of order and peace that have never known strife, shattered planets that have grown cold in the void, and some, like Toril, that lie somewhere in the middle. The moonlight strikes the apparatus through the low eastern window, and just for a moment, another new world is illuminated against the western wall. On the world of Talan, it's dawn. We see the planet spinning in place. A flooded planet. Bare peaks of land sticking above the briny sea, the great southern storm which eclipses the equator of the planet, raging a 30-mile-high tempest, walls of water tornadoes separating the two halves of the planet. We see Ulster and the Trauvold, the bastions of civilization, Antara with its strange dragon gods. And we see Volan, a continent of deserts, a new continent, raised only a few hundred years ago, above the waters from where it had been sunk by the avarice and the war of the gods thousands of years ago. But, as in all things, humanity endures, as it always does and always must. And now a new life has come to Volan, new people have come to Volan. We see the camera pan down all the way to the southeastern tip of Volan, where the waves crash blue against the shore. And we see a man lying in the surf, face up. He doesn't appear to be breathing. The victim of a shipwreck, perhaps? Someone murdered in the surf and left to be picked apart by the gulls? Possibly. Ryan, could you describe your character for me?
Okay, so you see lying in the surf a rather thin man with a well, it's difficult to tell, but he appears to have a bit of a hunch. He's wearing very plain clothes at this point. In fact, it's mostly rags. Some of them appear to be both singed and waterlogged at the same time. He's got a shock of messy white hair that's quite thin. He has a bit of a 5 o'clock shadow, which is also white. He's wrinkled. His skin is like sagging off him, and he appears to have one regular arm and one arm that is, one hand that is made of some kind of dark red metal, almost black until the sun catches it at a certain angle, which then disappears up into his sleeve, with what you can see of the wrist and the arm going up, also made of this reddish black metal.
As the man begins to splutter and cough and pats his body down as if he wasn't quite expecting to be here. Will, you vomit forth seawater from your lungs and stomach, coughing and spluttering. And as you do so, thoughts begin to spring unbidden to your mind. Words that seem to have some logic to them, but words you've never heard before. As your taste receptors fire off their electrical signals to your brain, you begin to think and feel words: silicon dioxide, sodium chloride, dihydrogen oxide. Things that, thoughts that aren't quite yours. User, you're approaching the edge of my long-range scanners, but I believe there is a party of humanoids approaching your location. I suggest you move.
What the fuck? I had to smash cut there.
Absolutely. We pull out and see the planet revolve again, time spinning the planet around as days and nights turn. And we descend into the cold earth. And in fact, out of the waking world and into dreams. We see a dark place, metal and cold. Pieces of metal equipment and strange ancient devices, everything covered with a layer of rust and filth. The skittering of rats and insects and other things. Sitting on a bench, a lab bench, that's been cleared and set up. A couple of apples and some water and a few sweets have been set out. And a girl sits on this lab bench, swinging her legs, waiting, bored, a little. Mike, could you describe your character for me?
So at this point, so it'd be, it'd be about an 8-year-old girl. She's got pigtails. She's at this stage. She's got she's kind of playing with like a very really small mechanical dragon. It looks like she's kind of cobbled it together from the bits that are there, like bits that she's found here. And she's kind of just sitting there, sort of waiting and worried. But she also has an open journal where she'll occasionally scribble a note.
As you sit here, you feel that cold paralysis that comes with bad dreams. The dream you've dreamed many times over the years grip you, and in the mindset you have currently of a child who knows something's about to go wrong. You hear from the next room, okay, hold it steady, 45%. Yep. Okay, the etheric couplings look good. Yes, it's working. Yes. Oh my god, it's working. Ha 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 ha. Amazing. Okay, increase power to 60%. And then you hear a whining buzz like the mother of all mosquitoes as a machine part begins to whir out of control. Shut it down, shut it down, shut it down! You hear a retort, an explosion, and you feel your body in the dream run itself to the doorway, and just for a second, outlined in white light, you see two silhouettes before you wake. You're in your bed at the university. Or the university's Volenian campus, anyway. And you know you've been forbidden from seeking out the next stage of your journey. But, well, neither your parents nor your guardians ever appreciated subtlety. You unlock the door and step out into the night, stealing a few things to aid you on your way, and set off for a Martel subsite 441. Our camera pulls out again and turns a little onwards. Here in the desert continent of Volan, a place with very few water sources, scant oases, rain is a blessing. It doesn't happen very often. In the cold, grey dawn light, we see a farmhouse on a scrubby, sandy-soiled hill. And standing at the bottom of the hill is a man. Rich, could you describe your character for me?
So he Augustine is wearing a smart suit, a suit that puts him in a position of wealth, but at the same time, it's a working man's suit. You can tell that he's worked for the money. He hasn't ever had to be handed down anything. Um, he's carrying a cane that he carries lightly, so he's not using it for support, but he has an ever-present grip on it as if it gives him comfort. And as you look at the farmhouse, you can see he is in his late 50s. The grey is coming into his beard, the grey is coming into his hair, but hasn't overpowered it entirely.
As Augustine stands at the bottom of the hill, he becomes aware, with those ever sharp senses which come from being in the outlands, of someone coming up the path a little way behind him. You turn and you see Jeffrey, another member of your organization. It's not uncommon. The bank just sends any operatives nearby to collect. How's it going?
Yeah, good. How are you, sir?
Ah, can't complain. Working hard and hardly working. You want to take this one, or shall I?
I mean, I don't think I've got any files on this one. Do you know who we're here for?
Yeah, I think it's a new sign-up. The old lady owes a pretty packet, actually, but, they all do.
I was gonna say, I don't think you'll find anyone in our line of business that doesn't, you know?
Let's do it. You begin to walk up the path together, side by side. People in your line of work know that the best time to collect a debt is just after dawn, so no one has any time to skitter away any money or prepare an excuse for why you should offer mercy this month. You walk up, and Jeffrey strides open, knocks on the door. Mrs. Hutchinson, it's a couple of representatives from the bank. Would you mind having a word with us? And after a few seconds, an older woman, startled clearly from sleep, probably in her 60s, says, hello there. I wasn't expecting to see you so soon, but no, that's please come in. Would you like some tea or anything?
That's mighty kind of you.
Cool. You said, and you sit at a very modest table. You see a lot of empty spaces on shelves where it looks like probably heirlooms sat until quite recently. And the lady bustles about her kitchen and makes tea, clearly trying to make a good impression. This is the first time anybody from your organization has been to collect. And Jeffrey looks at you, gives a wink, and brings out a small velvet black bag and places it on the table. Now, Mr. Hutchinson, thank you so much for the tea, by the way. I believe that you know why we're here, and if you could produce the repayment amount, that'd be mightily appreciated. And she sort of nods and goes over to a dresser which has a lockbox in it, and she pulls out a few silver and gold coins and turns to you and says, "I'm terribly sorry, gentlemen, but it's only the interest this month. Is that okay?"
Now, you're well aware of the terms when you signed the agreement. We made it very clear what would happen if you didn't fulfill the terms.
I'm well aware. It's fulfills the contract perfectly, but I'm not paying off any of the balance. We've still been getting the farm up and running with the amount that you so generously supplied to us. But next month things will be better. You know.
Well, I can sure see you put it to good use. All right, just this once.
There's a little sort of twitch in her eyes, like relief fully floods her face, but she's trying not to let you see. And she places the coins into this velvet bag. Jeffrey draws the string, tosses it up in the air, and catches it, and as it comes back down, there's no clink of money inside. You finish your tea, Mrs. Hutchinson, again, really trying to make a good impression. And then your work done for the morning, all by a tidy 6:15. You step out again into the rain, your expensive coat keeping you warm, and as you do, you and Jeffrey just breathe in the power that this gives you over people.
I like this one. Feels like it could be profitable.
Oh, well, everybody's profitable. You just gotta work out how. You look after yourself. Take care. I'm off Widow's Gulch way. How about you?
I don't know yet. I'll see where the business is needed.
Business is needed and business is good. We pan out again to a late afternoon. There's a cave mouth, but within that cave mouth, you can see the glint of metal, walls, old, precursor. The people that were here before Volan sank before the waves. Will and Miz, could I get a dex saving throw from both of you, please?
Ooh, that's a good one. With a -1, that is 17.
17, Miz?
Yeah, hold on.
17, oh, that's fine. We hear rumbling from deep beneath the earth, something subsiding, something breaking. A support beam over some kind of cavern collapses. And we see a much older Miz in her late teens. And the same old man we saw on the beach running at full sprint out of this cave entrance as it fully collapses behind them. Miz and Will, what do you do?
Well, I do look a little bit different now that I've actually got some gear now. So I've got myself a long coat, some sturdy jeans, a shirt and a waistcoat, and a cane and a hat and a bandana mask. The bandana mask, however, is currently pulled down, and he's just going as he is sprinting out of the cave and just dives to solid rock.
Heeding no kind of courage in the face of danger to save your companion, Will sprints out of the cave entrance, dives onto a big flat rock. Miz, you're getting pelted with pebbles and small stones and sand as you appear 5 seconds later, and a scant second after you emerge from the cave entrance, the whole thing collapses. Subsite 441 was empty of everything. This has been a loss. This has been a defeat. But
Yeah.
you look out to where you left your cart. The giant ant that was pulling it, bucking and shying away, finally breaks free of the leather restraints and the bridle as the cart begins to be dragged down into an enormous pool of quicksand caused by the subsidence underneath.
No.
No, 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 no!
I will. Yeah, I attempt to leap at the cart. But
I would like to tackle her.
Very good. Roll a grapple check. Yeah, roll a shovel. Shovel grapple. Yeah.
That's a grand total of 15.
15. That's versus acrobatics or athletics, I believe.
I choose to fail that because I'm not paying
uh,
attention to the man.
Yeah. You just get sideswiped and brought down onto this flat rock. The cart goes fast. It fully drowns in 10, 12 seconds. At the very last moment, there's a flash of metal as a small silvery creature pops up and engages a little rocket boost and flies over and sits on Miz's shoulder.
Bard! It wasn't a total bust. Bard survived.
I'm sorry, young miss. That was very dangerous, and I couldn't allow you to endanger yourself like that.
I had to look after my little pet. I mean, sure, we've lost all of our clothes, supplies, food. Did I say supplies? Supplies, yes.
Yes.
But Bart survived. Good news.
Hooray.
You suddenly realise that not only are you without food, without water, more importantly, in the desert, but the reason why the university had forbidden Miz from seeking out Subsite 441 is that you are in Coyotl territory. You are in the dead centre of the Civil War. And there are scant few places of civilization and safety around here. But you could make it to the battlefront if you went quickly.
So, good news, bad news situation. Bad news, all of our water's in that pit. Good news, the soldiers will probably have water.
I'm sorry, what? What do you mean,
Well,
soldiers?
Oh, did I not say? Yeah, I might have omitted a teensy weensy little fact. we're technically, and don't be mad here, but we're technically in the middle of a war zone.
The
Um,
Coyotal war zone?
On the
I don't know why
horizon,
I'm asking. That's the only war zone there is.
you
Oh
begin to hear the
no!
crackle of cannons and battle magic.
be
You
them
see
now.
a purple light light up the horizon line from over a rock.
Yay! Shall we go get some water?
No! 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 We don't want to do anything to do with the Coyotal. We want nothing to do with them.
Okay, but I mean, look up, man. Look up. What do you see?
An
Sky.
ocean of azure sky.
Yeah. The sky, the sun. Sun's warm, real warm.
Okay, I'm going to give you a bit of advice. Don't look directly at the sun. You do know that, right?
So should mention she's got like kind of like goggles on.
Will says that anyway.
Yes, yeah. But she kind of forgets that she's wearing them when she gives advice to other people to look directly at the sun. Well, you can either stay here, and I mean you've got a choice of deaths here, I suppose, or we can sneak into a camp, steal some water, and we can be on our way to the next site.
Over your shoulder, you begin to hear howls. Human-sized howls.
Come on,
Is that in
off
the
we go.
direction that Miz is trying to take us?
The opposite direction that she's trying to take.
Okay. All right, then. Let's go. Let's go.
About this time, at the battlefront, we pan down into a small wooden shack, a field hospital that's been set up. About 8, 9 young men and women lie on straw pallets, the best comfort that can be arrayed here, out as far west as humans go in the Outlands. Various medics and people carrying poultices and fresh water and blankets and bandages minister to some of the wounded. But there's another figure here. Brad, could you describe your character for me?
You're
are
correct.
muted.
Yeah. Okay. So, she is probably about somewhere between 5'6" and 5'8". She has silver, wavy hair, double braided to keep it out of her eyes and her face. She has a very lived-in face, a woman who's seen much in her long life. She has soft gray-blue eyes, and hanging around her neck is a small golden sickle. And this symbol is at odds with the woman's age, as it appears almost brand new. But the rest of her clothing is specifically her duster, you can see there's some kind of plating underneath the clothing that's kind of making it appear a bit lumpy, are just as old service clothes that have seen battle more than once and will likely see it again. And she's kneeling over maybe a young man who's probably not long for this world and is silently...
You can see that his right leg has been blasted from his body and big, thick, black necrotic veins are leaching up, and it's hit kidney, it's hit liver. Yeah. You see a young man of probably 17. Not even one of the youngest here, but to see someone so young, the old should never have to see the young harmed. But you know that.
And she leans in close and says, "Dearie, would you like me to make the pain stop, dear?"
He's delirious and muttering, but you just hear just a ghost of a word. Yes.
And then you hear a bell, as Toll the Dead plays, ding, using it as a kind of mercy. And it's probably audible to every person in here. And then she closes his eyes. "You can't save them all, dearie." And she turns to a nurse. but she can make their passing a little nicer.
Thank you, Grandmother.
Of
I believe
course,
you're
dear.
needed for one of your other duties outside.
Oh,
You step out, and you can see a row of pine boxes. They are 7 feet long, 2 feet wide, 1 foot tall. As each is lowered into the ground, what do you say?
dearie, dearie, dearie. Let us pray together. Let us hope that the old woman comes and guides these on to their next lives, in whatever form she might take.
There's a scattering of amen. You can see serried ranks of ringed soldiers stand around. For this brief respite in the war, we take the time to bury those we can. It's a sad duty, but someone has to do it.
At least I don't have to get my hands dirty. Can't be baking cookies if you got your hands dirty.
We zoom out again and see the world of Talam, turning as it ever has for thousands and thousands of years. 4 stories are soon to become intertwined. Our story truly begins at the end of another story. We're at the battlefront, a few days later, and there's a single pine box. It's 7 feet long, 2 feet wide, 1 foot tall. Inside the box is the body of a young man. Until yesterday, a beacon of hope in the midst of a grim, prolonged, awful war. In life, the young man was known to his family and friends as Carter Garland, but to the soldiers arrayed in rings around him, in respectful silence, he was known as the Angel of Fort Morgan, a hero in humanity's fight for survival in Volan, but not only that, a leading figure in the alliance between the revealed Coyotl and the humans of the Outlands. A few hours after his body was dragged back through trenches and razor wire by the only survivor of his patrol, his body is as handsome and perfect as it was in life, save for long claw marks across one cheek and a left hand that's missing just below the elbow. A preacher, a battlefield chaplain, is speaking words over the body in the eerie quiet of the pre-dawn air. Normally by now the air would be filled with the cracking of pistol shots, the whistling of arrows, the roar of battle magic, but even the war itself seems to have paused this morning for breath to pay its respects to the young fallen hero. You all stand around, in and among the soldiers of the Fort Morgan Irregulars, but not really belonging. This is their grief and their tragedy. You're just there to see it happen. The preacher is iron-faced as he concludes his sermon, tears falling down his dignified, unflinching countenance. We commend the body of our brother back to the care of his family, and his soul to the mercy of the thousand. Major Garland, Carter, he fought harder than anyone for the preservation of the innocent, of our way of life. Now it's up to us to make sure the world he fought for gets built, even if he won't be there to see it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to work. Murmurs of appreciation go around from the stone-faced mercenaries and militiamen as they grip their motley array of weapons closer and gird themselves for war. A pine box, 7 feet long, 2 feet wide, 1 foot tall. It's not a just reward for Carter Garland, but it is a reward, nonetheless. And it's a reward that waits, inevitably and absolutely, for everyone here in the Outlands, sooner or later. Welcome to Volan. What would you like to do?
Well, seeing this, Will is going to take something out of his pocket and trying to shield it from view from other people, but he's just going to look at it for a second and just think quietly to himself in the light of the sacrifice this young man has made. And then, as if someone draws near, he's going to go quickly tuck it out of view.
Lillian, there's a man here called Daniels, a sergeant, and he points to you and beckons you over, and to a few other people as well. There's an old man and a young girl, maybe a granddaughter, or possibly not, actually. They don't look similar. And an older, respectable-looking working man in a sharp suit beckons all of you over.
I'm over.
Ma'am, thank you. I'm in charge of the burial detail for Major Garland. I was hoping you wouldn't mind traveling back to Fort Morgan with him. His mom's there. She wants the body back.
It's the duty of those who serve to usher the dead back to where they go.
He points to Miz and Will. You guys, you were looking for money, right?
Yes.
Money and all supplies.
And water.
We can make that happen. We can't spare the soldiers to take Major Garland back to his home and his parents, but we can make it worth your while. I'll wait till Rich is finished.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, she will give.
Ooh.
I'll wait till he comes back, but
I'm gonna grab water for 1 second.
it's fine.
Oh no, he's back. Never mind.
Sorry.
Yes.
It's fine.
So in response, she won't say anything, but she'll give kind of like a salute in a half serious, half mocking, because she doesn't quite get.
It's not. It's certainly not a choreographed military salute. It's more of a
Yeah.
yeah. Sure. Augustine, you've been sniffing around here. You have had a lot of luck with signing up contracts here. Like the military tend to pay well, at least. And well, for your collections, that money doesn't go into your pocket, and you are feeling a little light as well. Sir, would you care to join?
Why not?
I can write out credit notes for each of you. It'll be 15 gold. Should cover your expenses for the next 3 days. The part of the religion, he needs to be back there in 3 days' time, okay? We need to get him on the ground.
Oh, what religion is that, dearie?
Roll a religion check.
Sure. Oh. Feel this is bad. 7.
You don't recognize specifically. Like you're from the Ulsterian faith, not the Travoldian. You think that's a Travoldian thing, but then again, there are 3,000 living gods in the Ulsterian pantheon, and each of them you're intimately familiar with has sometimes not only differing but opposite rituals. Carter isn't wearing any kind of religious symbolism. He has like a jean jacket that is folded up on his chest that has been laid there after he was dressed in burial clothes. The coffin is still open. You can see he does have like a family signet ring on. He has and this jacket has a pair of gold wings embroidered onto the thing. You know of Carter Garland that not only was he a full like political war hero, like Captain America style propaganda item. He was also one of the children. He had the ability to manifest giant golden wings on his back for a few minutes a day. I don't know, ma'am. I'm sorry. It's just the request we've received in Fort Morgan.
Oh, don't worry your little head about it, dearie. It's perfectly fine. That's fine. There's lots of gods and lots of religions and lots of different ways of worshiping them. Doesn't matter too much in the end. Death is death. We all get there in the pine box eventually.
Sure. Wish it hadn't been Carter, though.
Oh, dearie, everyone wishes it wasn't somebody or someone or some lover or something like that.
Thanks, man.
That's too much.
Done a
That's
little
too much.
Okay. You guys can
How-
see the. Oh, sorry, Cameron.
How is the pine box being moved?
You can actually see that like the top section of it, like the boards are being hammered shut now, and it's being loaded onto a cart that is being pulled by a big.
Oh,
big
cut. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's pretty similar to the one you were traveling in. Like this isn't a wagon. It's not like a covered wagon, a canvas covered wagon. It's just a cart. You do know that out in the outlands here, anyone who grew up in Ulster or the Traveled, which by your ages, I think everyone except Miz. Back there, it's all oxen and horses. Out here in the desert, horses are prohibitively expensive to keep. Ants and beetles require a tenth as much water. So this is being pulled by like a big rhino beetle. And they say, drop the cart off when you get there. It's one of our supply wagons.
Okie dokie.
Yeah. You see Daniels has like a spear and a shield, and the spear has like runes engraved into the head of it as well. It says, just check out of the gate when you go. Sorry, I've got to run, but.
Where you go, dearie? Was hoping that with everything happening, if you could keep an eye out for 2 young children, out yay high, cute as a button, long horns on their heads, you know. You know when you see them, they're about the same age.
I think last time General McCoy was out here, she mentioned you were looking for someone. I'll keep an eye out.
Think, dearie, that's lovely.
Okay. The cart is ready to go. Anyone can steer it. It's not a difficult thing to do. The beetle is obedient. It's been trained for, if not battle, then certainly military supply lines. At the gatehouse, not even the gatehouse, at the place in this rough palisade fence that sits open, you can see there is a couple of guards stationed at a checkpoint just to check things going in and out. Um, there are three guards there actually. One of them looks to be a corporal, a little higher up than the other two. The two privates do a snap to smart salute as the cart goes by, and the corporal comes over and says, "You take care of me, understand?" And hands each of you a promissory note that can be exchanged for money in Fort Morgan once you get there.
Will gives a passable army salute.
Sure. Yeah. As you head out into the outlands of Volan, the brick red orange sand beneath you, and a simple ocean of sky above, not a cloud anywhere on the horizon. What would you like to do?
So,
I think Will's
So
going
we-
to hop up into the driver's seat. I'd say
Sure.
hop up.
Yeah. You should be able to see on the Volan map. You are where the little D&D ampersand is. Fort Morgan is over here, so it's a little less than 3 days travel on by the cart. If you have any questions about anything that's going on, any of the places, any of the people, any of the organizations, feel free to shout them out. This is new to everyone except Ryan, and even Ryan, it's been what, 4 years?
Something like that.
so I'll probably hop into the cart and begin fashioning a rocket of some description, like a small rocket that may or may not be large enough to propel a coffin a short distance.
There's all these specific things.
Can I roll perception to see if I notice?
I'm gonna say, Miz, roll me a Tinker's Tools check, and perception would be appropriate here.
Okay.
Uh,
That's a natural 2. I do not catch this.
how do I actually roll on that?
You can add it as a custom skill, or you can do.
Is it just a D20 and then I add?
You have Tinker's Tools proficiency, so it would be a proficient. I'm gonna say intelligence check. So roll history, and then that will be the same number.
Okay,
I can set you up a custom skill later.
cool.
I can say Augustine and Lillian. You see this pink-haired teenager with this. Just bring a big tool belt out while the old man goes up and sits and starts striving. She's sort of sitting on the side of the cart, brings out like a big bag of raw scrap and wires and pieces of crystal, and begins just to put some kind of device together. You're not quite sure what it is. The old man is completely oblivious to this.
Like we're walking alongside the cart.
If you choose to be, I think you probably two people could ride in the cart, so one's going to be walking at each time.
Yeah, that's fine.
If there wasn't a coffin, you could all fit.
Yeah, if there wasn't a coffin. Lily's used to walking. She's
Yeah.
not afraid of it. But she'll kind of look up at the cart, see what's happening up there. Dearie, what you doing up there?
Well, in case we come across quicksand, then this will be an emergency ejection device. We can all climb onto the coffin and it will launch us to safety. The next 5 seconds is up to you guys. I can't come up with all the plans. So, red wire goes there. Blue wire, naughty wire, you get back in there.
Miz, please don't turn the coffin into a rocket. Please.
That would be silly. No. No, the rocket is what launches the coffin. The coffin itself isn't a rocket. And then she'll hold up like a crayon drawn diagram of like a rocket blueprint. And she goes, see? And she's literally just drawn in crayon the coffin on top of the rocket. She goes, see? It's separate.
Well, you're used to this kind of thing. This has been your last few weeks. Augustine, Lillian, what's going through your minds right now as you are presented with a literal crayon drawing of a rocket attached to the body of a war hero?
I think Lillian's like just in shock. Not that somebody would do this to a dead body, because she kind of like the body is just a body, but there is a respect there for let's carry this back to where it wants to go, not for the person who's died, but for the people who are left around. But at the same time, she's just like, oh, it's nice to be young.
Fair. Augustine?
I guess my question would be like, does he see a spark of genius, or does he see someone that just that is the appearance you're giving off that you know what you're doing, or like complete madness?
If you know anything about rocket schematics, then they appear to be accurate, albeit drawn in crayon.
There is a level of complexity here that. What's your intelligence, Augustine?
It is +1, 12.
Yeah, fair. So you're a decently smart guy. I mean, you're more of a grafter when it comes to sort of the book learning work. But even so, there is a level of complexity here that you appreciate instantly is beyond your intellectual capacity by some way.
But I guess is that complexity reflected in the diagram, or is it literally like, are we just talking?
Oh, I see. So the coffin is very, very simple. That's just a rectangle. But the actual blueprint that I've held up seems reasonably detailed. It's not just like a child's drawing of a rocket, if that makes sense. If that's what you're after.
Yeah. So I guess he'd watch with intrigue.
Yeah, I mean, it will take. Like, I'm not attaching it to the coffin immediately because it takes a while to build. I don't know exactly how long, but I feel that's more a DM's discretion. But
if you are seriously attempting to do this, I'm going to say, what was that Tinker's Tools check? Was it 19?
19.
Yeah, I say like it's going to be a number of successes that you would need to work on over time.
Yeah,
and that's going to be one success. You think with the current amount of materials you've got just in a wooden cart in the middle of the sun, it's probably more successes than you can make before you reach Fort Morgan.
Yeah.
But the fun is in the experimentation, because you can always make those natural 20 serendipitous discoveries of pure science, as one of your old mentors used to say.
It'll be about the journey, even if the journey is atop a rocket.
As you're traveling, you can see around you. Could everybody roll me a nature check?
Ooh.
Oh, those dice, Mike. Seriously.
They're really cool.
Yeah.
20.
20,
15.
15, 16.
10 for me.
As you are engulfed and engrossed in the technical specifications, you suddenly have this epiphany about a new manner in which to mix fuels together, like a new type of fuel injector, and you just fully switch off. You guys can see that, this young girl has just gone to full daydream mode. Around you, you can see what all of you will be used to by now. Things called mercy trees. They are not exactly trees, but they're the closest kind of thing you find in the desert. They are huge, skeletonized ancient corals that were growing up from the seafloor when Volan was still underwater. And along their branches, you see moss and algae growing up. They are a method by which you can get water in the direst of emergencies. With 16, 15, 20, drinking the cactus water around here isn't a good idea. Tends to be a bit poisony. Yeah.
In an emergency, dearie, that's what we drink, but I don't think it's that point yet. So let's carry. But I meant to ask, the two of you, points to the old man and Miss, how do you know each other? You seem to have a familiarity.
Well, we've only known each other a few weeks. I found her and I didn't feel it was safe to leave her on her own.
I completely understand that sentiment. Knowing her for more than 5 minutes, I really get that.
Fair.
Well,
Fair.
I guess the next question is what are you doing out here then?
So I'm gonna see if she pays attention. Nope, she's still oblivious.
Okay. Well, there was a. We were out having an explore of the local area. I I was not in charge of the map reading. I realised after the fact that this was probably a small mistake, as we found ourselves a bit closer to the front lines than I felt comfortable with. But unfortunately, there was a small incident involving our previous wagon, which, strangely enough, was not Mrs. fault. Not directly Mrs. fault. She didn't blow it up.
Well, I meant more what you're doing in Volin, unless you're a local, but I don't strike you as a local, dear.
I've been here a while.
He's got the tan, but the accent is Austerian, for sure.
Oh, you've been here a while then. Oh, so you just don't want to tell the nice old grandmother your secrets. That's fine. You could keep them all to yourself. That's perfectly fine.
I do not trust the old grandmother user. Only one.
Inside my head, no, I don't trust her either. She scares me a little bit, and I don't know why.
The symbol is like on display. It's like very, very obvious.
Oh, sorry, what? Roll religion, yes.
Yeah.
Anybody who is paying attention can roll me a religion check.
Oh, that's not bad. That is 14.
14? You're not sure. With a 14. There are a lot of gods. Like, a sickle could be like a god of agriculture, maybe? She's definitely some kind of priest. Augustine. Is it Augustine or Augustine?
Christine.
Augustine. That is the symbol of death. Of the death. The psychopomp, Grim Reaper kind of death.
And are they? Will I know? Like, are they like? Do they believe in natural death, or is it a dedication towards causing death?
Very, very much the former. With an 18, these are people who tend to worship death or be among her clerics and priests and followers are those who guide souls from one world to the next, those who ease suffering, even those who prevent unnatural deaths from occurring and prevent unnatural life from continuing.
And is the name just death in this world, or do they have a specific name?
It is a title. It's a mantle which is handed down from worthy person to worthy person. It extends the life somewhat, but even death can't live forever, and so every so often, the current death will choose to appoint a successor. At which point they will go on to their long-deserved reward. Lillian, you can see the you can see this sharp-suited man sort of. You clock a look of recognition at the holy symbol.
Oh, do you like it, dearie? And she'll pull it up so you can get a better look.
I mean, I know what it stands for, and I've got no beef with your ilk. You know, I'm certainly not eager to join you. But
Well, I'm not dead yet, dearie. Like, old as I am, I'm not quite in the grave. Thank you very much.
Well, I see it's some kind of sickle. Do you follow a god of agriculture or something?
No, dearie. Oh, I suppose fertilizer be quite close.
Okay. Well, I mean, so long as it's not the storyteller, he's a dick.
The storyteller is a god that we will all be familiar with. He was a recent ascendant to the to godhood, or relatively recent. And yeah, pretty renowned as a bit of a prankster. Yeah.
So,
So,
Um,
what are your names? I don't believe I caught them.
I was just about to ask that as well, dearie. Well, I'll start then. My name is Lillian. My friends can call me Lily. Right now, you can all call me Lillian. We'll see how the day goes.
Pleasure to meet you. My name is Augustine Alder.
So the little girl will poke her head back up. She's snapped back into reality, and she goes, um, Misty, or friends call me Miz. You can call me Miz as well. That makes us friends.
Very well. And yourself?
Oh, they call me Man. My name is William.
Will.
Yes, William Turnipswell.
What? Do I believe that?
Roll insight if you would like.
Sure.
I can't tell you for sure, but I can give you
Ooh. Natural 20 for a 26.
he appears to be telling. You have no way of knowing for sure, but he doesn't like it like he's outright lying in any way.
Okay.
I got a 17 on the appropriate roll.
Sure. You think his name probably is William Turnipswell? Yeah, it's a bit of a silly name, but you know.
It's a bit of a silly name.
It's like I
You
came over from
grow
Ulster.
turnips or something?
No, old family business, I believe.
In turnips, right?
Presumably at some point.
Perhaps Swill instead. Could be either. Could be either. Could be both.
Was turnip swell, not swill.
Oh, swell, dearie. Swell. Turnips are swell.
Yes, from Ulster.
From Ulster, dear.
Have you considered
Oh.
it's a mistranslation? And actually, it's like a turnip doctor. They want turnips to be well. Turnips well.
I mean,
It's as likely as anything.
turnips do well.
Will, you're at
Oh.
the front of the car.
Sorry, what was that?
You're at the front of the car, right?
Yeah, I'm driving.
Could I get a perception check from you?
Oh boy, I shouldn't be driving. 15.
You for a second you think there's like a fleck of dust in your eye, but then you looking out, you can see a little red dot on the horizon, and you sort of go to bat it away. It's a fly, and it. You can see a little read out life signs detected. You can see a group of coyotl traveling towards you. They don't appear to have any hostile intent.
Coyotl ahead.
Is this
Coyotl-
a covered wagon?
wagon you're on is not a covered wagon, though. It's a
Which. And we're going there. We're going through the revealed. Oh, we're going through friendly territory, though.
You're going into friendly territory, so certainly, yeah.
They're coming from ahead of us?
So anyone here can roll me a history check if you like.
Or...
It's an easy one.
14.
30-20.
4.
So yeah, Lillian, you haven't. If I remember correctly, you haven't been on the continent super long. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've had some dealings with the cockle. You know that some are friendly and some aren't. Miz and Will, you've had a few more dealings with these creatures. They are the sort of native inhabitants of Volan, like big, wiry, dog-headed humanoids with like dark brown fur, very sort of wolfish features, long limbs with long claws, and you know that they are divided up into several nations essentially on this continent. The tribes, and there's some of those are friendly towards humans, and some decidedly aren't. The Kyoto Civil War has been raging for 5 years or so now, and you know that the Kitsa, the Garu, and the Reba, as you can see on the Volan map, are revealed Koyotl. They accepted the revelation of their god, whatever it was, 5 years ago, and decided to make peace with the humans and ally with them. Then there were the Light Sworn, the Artala, the Ulpa, the Balana, and the Raza. They follow a very different interpretation of the same teachings. That humans are at best unwelcome guests, and at worst an infection that needs to be purged from Volan. And then there are some tribes that haven't chosen a side for one reason or other, the Saba, the Nura, and the Tulkara. As you look ahead of you, you can all see now this group of Coyotl warriors coming towards you. They are armoured in bone and riding what look to be like giant armoured bovine creatures, somewhere between a bison and a tortoise. And they are dressed in the grey robes of the Garu. These are allied to humans, at least against the other factions of the Civil War. The leader of the party is an 8-foot wolf, carrying no weapons that you can see, wearing no armor above the waist. But you can see the claws are hugely long and massive and chipped in some way. Do any of you speak Coyotl? It's available as a language if anyone had languages to take.
I tried to take it but couldn't work out how.
That's fair. You also, I believe we have discussed, have an item on you. Do you not?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. As you walk past Miz, you hear. As the carts pass each other. As your cart passes their mounts, you hear the lead Garu say something in this barking, yipping language that you understand, which is essentially "Good day, safe travels," and a voice from Miz's backpack goes, "Good day, safe travels."
I will do the same sort of salute that I did previously.
Yeah. And you pass by.
Do we all hear the voice?
You all hear the second voice, yeah.
Do we have a stowaway on board?
No, we don't.
Unless we're including this guy, and again, I will point to the.
Bard.
The coffin.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I mean, he's kind of implied that he tagged along. He didn't hide away.
Well, we don't actually know who's in there. You're not suggesting we check, do you?
We saw them seal the coffin. We
Right.
know who's in there.
Anyone who has a passive perception of 15, which I think may only be maybe none of you actually.
It's
Lillian?
no, I'm close.
You're
At
close.
14.
Yeah. Is it at 14? You think that came from Miz, but you can't tell where or why. Yeah.
My ears may be old, but I did hear another voice say good day to those Coyotl. So.
Oh, and she'll rummage in her backpack and pull out a couple of odd-looking devices, and then there's kind of one.
So are you pulling out the skull?
Yes.
So you see, she pulls out a quite small skull. It looks human-ish, but like instead of one dome, it's separated slightly into more like two lobes, and the whole surface of it is chased with basically like microchip patterns. And those are where they've been carved out. They are filled with like a grainy grey material.
Edie, what's that?
Oh, this is Gerald. Say hi, Gerald. And she will speak in Clotl. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
He likes you.
It's not alive, is it though? Is it, dear? It's not an undead creature?
Don't think so. I mean, where's the rest of him if he's alive?
You see Lily's eyes go kind of a shade darker, and she uses Eyes of the Grave. Is it an undead creature?
No, absolutely not. This is a piece of technology rather than it's technology which incorporates the remains of some kind of creature, but there is no undeath. There's none of that familiar stench that you are used to, at least in passing.
It passes, and she'll take a quick look around, just in case, with the eyes. I
Yeah.
assume I see nothing, but
No, you don't.
oh well.
Yeah.
As long as
Gerald?
you're not raising the dead against their will and using their bones to cause all kinds of havoc, filling it with necromantic energies, it's perfectly fine.
She starts scribbling frantically into a book. Go on, go on. Yes.
No, don't do that. Those are things you're not supposed to do.
And she'll slam the book shut, disappointed, and go, and then she'll put Gerald away back into her backpack.
Sure.
Uh,
Cool. You travel on for the rest of the day. I'm gonna say you're gonna move a couple of spaces to like there, basically. I think you should have control, but I can also move you. Yeah. You're gonna pass through a valley tomorrow. You can see it ahead of you. It passes between two halves of a mountain range, which kind of they're not like the vast toothy mountains which split Volan in two, but these are certainly foothills. And there is a ravine that goes between the two. But you are traveling into away from the sort of neutral war zone into the revealed Koyotl territory. It gets towards the end of the day. It's roughly spring around now. So the desert hasn't become as hot as it otherwise will be. But it's still very warm and the days are long. The sun begins to dip below the horizon, probably 9 o'clock. But yeah, what would you like to do regards making camp?
Try and find somewhere with reasonable protection from the elements / marauders.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, anyone who wants to sort of be contributing to the setup and location process, yeah, feel free to roll me survival.
yeah, sorry, I preempted that one. So
For sure. Yeah.
Lillian rolls a 23.
Okay. Yeah.
Makes up for my 4.
I also got 4.
You are watching these two, like, relatively old men and this child potter about, and you can see, like, one of them suggests, like, an overhang which has big weathering cracks going through. Looks like it could fall any moment. You see someone else, like, suggests, like, just a place, like a little dip, but that's got sightlines for miles. Anyone would see a campfire for 10 miles around, and you're in the outlands right now. Eventually, you find a little grove of mercy trees that have the sort of sits protected a little by like a rock wall, where it looks like part of the old seafloor has been like extruded up and comes up like that kind of angle. And there is an overhang, but it's not quite as weathered as the other one. Yeah, you find a perfectly decent place to make camp for the night.
Here, dearies, away from all of the death that you just tried to visit upon us.
Now hear me out. That other place gave you great sightlines. We'd be able to see any bandits coming.
And everyone would be able to see you, dearie.
I mean, I'm friendly. I'm happy to scare them off.
Can you see in the dark, dearie? Can you?
Never
Because
know.
because everything out here can see that fire from a million miles away. So I wouldn't worry too much. So let's just go into this nice little copse of trees and it'll be perfectly fine and safe. We can have a nice fire when it gets very, very cold in the desert tonight.
And it most
Oh,
certainly.
it's defer to your wisdom.
I second the deferral.
As the sun goes down at 9 o'clock, the temperature drops like a stone. You're all used to this. You've travelled through the desert, but there's going to be frost on the sand tomorrow, as there always is. You set up camp. You put a little fire. If anyone with that little, was that 23 for Lillian?
Yep.
Yeah. You even set up some little snares and catch a few like sort of iguana-looking lizards, which you like spit on a stick and begin to roast over the fire. the sky above is an ocean of stars. There is no light here. There is no light save the campfire. You can see the full spiral of the galaxy going across the sky from north to south and moving. You can see both moons of Talam. One crescent, one half full.
It's a lovely night. Lovely night.
Who goes to bed first?
Bunch of fucking old men and old women. Jesus Christ.
How have we all, except Mike, picked old people?
I don't know.
Old people and a teenager.
Yeah.
Excuse
I
me.
guess-
Early 50s is not old, thank you very much.
Oh, I should
guess-
probably mention my character. He either looks like he is incredibly good shape for someone who is ancient, or incredibly bad shape for someone who is only mildly ancient.
Excellent.
I guess my first question would be, within Volan, is there anywhere we can get the early bird special?
I mean, most assuredly. I mean, the closest one to here is going to be Fort Morgan if you're not looking for a Coyotl early bird special.
So as a little thing, she'll Miz will play about with what little she's got left in her backpack, and she's able to create a very small light source, like from one of the tent posts. I assume we've constructed a tent.
Yeah. So if you have tents, that's fine. If not, you're going to be on bedrolls. The battlefront, the irregulars gave you a few casks of water, some supplies to get you. It's only enough to last you 3 days until you get back to Fort Morgan, but it's included.
Mechanically, that's magical tinkering, if you were curious.
Fine,
But yeah.
You pull what looks to be like anyone from our world would recognize it as like the LED from a security camera. And binding it around with rope, and then just literally jamming a crystal between two of these long, sort of fiber optic wires. The thing gives off a low hum for a few seconds, and then settles into just a soft light.
But yeah, once she's inside, she'll then clamber into bed, and then she'll kind of plonk her little robot dragon on top of her.
Yeah.
And then fall asleep.
There.
Lily's probably used to keeping watch, so she will start that.
Can I get a perception check from you?
Will is also going to keep watch.
Okay. At the same time or afterwards?
Let me just look up the rules for something real quick.
21.
Nice. Augustine, what are you doing?
Well, it seems I'm not needed. So with that, he holds up a bag and kips on it.
Yeah, you have like a little baby bag, like a sleeping bag that can go straight onto the dirt, and you, settle in for the night. Lillian, that was a 21.
Okay. I am going to be on watch all night.
Okay, cool. So Lillian, you are up for the first half, and you're sort of like, is that? Oh, I suppose. Well, I suppose Will is expecting us to wake the youngster and the other gentleman halfway through the night.
Will sit down and remain motionless for at least 6 out of those hours.
Once you start to your eyes start to droop, Lillian, you realise that Will's aren't. He looks pretty fresh as a daisy, sitting there completely motionless.
It waves a hand in front. I've seen this once before. That died.
See this one.
Did he died with his eyes open? You alive?
Are you alive, Will?
So, just reading. I think the. Okay, I can see and hear as normal. I'm not unconscious. I just Right, yeah. I'll come. I will respond. Suddenly my eyes will flicker towards you. It's like, yes.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just having a nice rest right here.
With your eyes open, dear.
Well, I'm still keeping watch. It was just a habit that I got into whilst whilst I was travelling with Ms. And also
You
before I was travelling with Ms.
You could have told me that, dear, so I didn't have to stay up so damn late.
Well, I'm not super observant, I've found, so I'm happy to remain on watch all night, but I do appreciate the second pair of eyes.
Speaking of, can I get a perception check from you as well, Will?
That's a 4.
Cool. Yeah. You, as you say, you've never been particularly observant, and the old age has got to you a little. Lillian, you're in the middle of the night. You hear the occasional flutter of a bat in the Mercy trees above. There are caves in the hillside all around here. And you hear even the odd nighttime flying bird. There are owls in Volan, and they have their own hoot occasionally. You see shooting stars come across the sky with pretty regularly. Just on the edge of your perception, for a moment, you think you can hear singing.
Rain my ear, listening for where it's coming from.
You listen, you really strain your ears where this mournful song is coming from, and as quickly as it appeared, you almost don't think you can hear it anymore. And then you're sure you can't hear it anymore.
If you were whistling just then, that didn't come through.
I was, yeah.
Strange, dear, stranger, stranger, for nothing to see or find. I think she would probably eye to the grave and just let her senses go in that direction.
Your eyes cloud over that charcoal colour, and you look around. There's no one dead around here.
Do you see something?
No, dearie, no.
Hold on a second. Will is going to bring up his hand, and you see a ring made of light appear in front of his hand, and he just goes ding, and part of it lights up, and then that disappears, and suddenly a panel made of light just appears in front of one of his eyes. Do I see anything magical within 30 feet?
Detect magic.
Detect magic.
Do you see anything magical within? You can see in Mrs. You can see a faint glow coming from within Mrs. Tent, but that's not unusual. I don't think. No, you don't see anything magical. You're just left with the. No, sorry. Someone sent me a question. I'm also answering a different question. We're all tricky fuckers.
Well, gotta keep things interesting somehow.
So,
What we do, dear?
do you come in at any point? Was it Lillian? Sorry.
Yes. So she will turn. She will say to William, "Well, dearie, interesting gets you killed, unfortunately, and I should know that very well.
I'll do my best to remain uninteresting.
See that you do. See that you do. And good night to you."
Good
And then
night.
she'll go into the tent.
Sure. Will you begin your sentinel's watch of the rest of the night, unless anyone wants to?
Yeah. So once Lillian goes in, Miz will then come back out. She will check. So she'll watch for most of the night. Although there will be a point she'll double check that Will is in his sentinel guard mode. At which point she will attempt to pull out a marker pen and draw a handlebar mustache onto Will's face, if that is possible.
It's not.
Will you you honestly Will, you are kind of, your eyes don't close anymore, so you have learned over the past couple of weeks and months that you to sort of zone out even with your eyes open. and your whole vision fills with red light as you hear threat detected, threat detected, threat detected, eliminate with prejudice, and you feel spell slots charging them up inside your hand before you see Miz holding a marker pen and yeah.
Miz, what have we talked about?
So she'll hide the marker pen and briefly write something in her journal, and then she'll return back to her watch.
Fair enough.
And then that's it from me, assuming I don't see anything.
And then I'll say it in my own head. For the how do I do this? Update friend list.
Introducing more devices to my network makes me nervous, user. Choose your friends carefully.
Okay, but maybe just don't kill that one if possible. You know, we could just knock them unconscious if we had to, without actual, what was the word you used? Termination?
There is a pause, almost like a buffering wheel, inside your brain. And you hear the voice say, I've invested a great amount of resources at great personal cost in your operation. I would not wish to risk you, even at the cost of your friends.
But these friends may keep me alive, and that one in particular, our goals align, and she could help us with what you want me to do.
Your terms are acceptable.
Breathes out of breath he's been holding in for weeks.
You see the little red overlay in your vision above Miz turn to green. What colour are the overlays over Lillian and Augustine?
Probably yellow over both of them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think Miz's was probably yellow until about a minute ago, and has now switched over.
Yeah, and it's probably going to switch between yellow and red frequently.
Yellow, red, and then that. Yeah. You, unless anything else happens, watch away the rest of the night.
Cool.
The morning comes, steam rising from the sand where the dew and frost has frozen, melting away into a bright, clear morning. Not too hot, a bit of a breeze, and you can see the canyon ahead of you. It's maybe 15 miles. You'll get there towards the end of today, and you struggle for the first few hours as you're moving through like a boulder field. Anyone who wants to can roll me, I'm going to say nature.
Ooh, 19.
Nice.
Same for a 23.
16.
16. I think I think you probably all get this. You can see that these boulders are like petrified seashells that were fossils that were lying on the seafloor and have been thrust upwards along with the continent when it rose several centuries ago. You even see little fish skeletons embedded straight into the rock, and very occasionally larger bones from some kind of enormous fish or whale. But for the moment, you see no other people. There is out here, you're still in, at best, neutral territory. It's certainly not controlled by humans at the moment, but it's not full war zone. Can everyone roll me perception, please?
Yes.
12.
7.
13.
22.
Augustine,
Thank God one
are you walking or riding on the cart? Augustine.
So I will always choose the cart unless someone has asked for me to get. I'll politely get off if I'm asked, but he will
Sure.
choose the cart where possible.
Sure. Yeah, you're riding in the wind, sort of going through your hair, and like the sand gets just everywhere. But you're making do with the best you can.
Can I have tried to convince Miz to drive the wagon so that it keeps her distracted.
Miz will says to you in the morning that asks you to take over driving the cart for a bit. Do you acquiesce?
There is a gleeful look in her eyes, and she will do that. She'll also cast a long strider on a beetle thing to try and.
Yeah, this big rhino beetle has like thick armored plates, and just a very few weak points. Miz pulls out like a big syringe filled with like purple pink goo, jabs it between two of the arm plates, and presses the plunger home. And the beetle goes. You hear this sort of cloth sound, and then it just starts powering forward about 30% faster than it was before.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, Augustine, you're having to hold on at this point to the side of the car. Even so, over the bumping of the pebbles and fossils and sand under feet or under wheel, you can hear a sound coming from somewhere ahead of you, maybe slightly to the north. Like a mournful kind of dirge singing.
Nothing's coming through, buddy. I think
Thank
Discord's noise cancelling is just cutting it out.
That's fair. I'll get a piano for next week. Yeah, you hear like a mournful minor key song, very high pitched, just an echo on the wind, like mild.
Does it bear the hallmarks of a particular race, or like, can we pick out? Like, is it played from
Augustine's the only one that can hear this currently.
then
You
I
heard it last night, but unless she's passed that on to the rest of the group.
I can't hear it currently.
Okay.
She's like, well, I didn't hear it. I didn't find anything. No use worrying them. Why bother?
Yeah.
Is there a language, or is it just a melody?
It's a very pure melody.
And we're heading towards it, or is it just kind of forward but off to the side?
You're heading. You're gonna pretty soon. You're gonna be turning off from going east to going northeast. It's ahead of you, but more to the north of where you're going than your actual route.
Is it a pleasant melody?
It's a little sad. It's beautiful, but it is sad.
If it's beautiful, I will hum along to the music. I won't say anything.
Lillian, could you roll me? I'm going to say insight, or insight or performance, your choice.
I prefer insight.
Yeah.
24.
Augustine on the side of the car that you're walking alongside. It's a little rude, but that's no one ever got far in the Outlands by being polite. He's humming, and he's humming a tune that you find familiar. And it takes you a couple of seconds, but then you realise that's the tune that was being sung last night by something out in the darkness.
Indeedy. The tune you're humming. Where'd you hear it?
Can hear it on the wind right now.
Now that he's said that, can I pick up the tune now?
Not really, no. Like, you really strain your ears. And actually, Augustine, you can't hear it anymore either. You hear a couple of strains of this melody, and then just wind, and the rustling of sand, and the creaking of the mercy trees in the wind.
Heard that tune last night, did he? Didn't make much of it, obviously, because nothing happened, but was it you humming the tune last night?
No.
Trying to spook me? In that
I
case,
don't
then.
spook.
You don't spook, dear. Not even when you were younger. Had a little brother or sister you spook jump out from a closet?
No.
No, dearie, you didn't. Oh, I find that hard to believe. You look like a bit of a mischievous rascal.
I look offended. Now, I can assure you I'm an honest businessman. Plying my trade out here in the wilds.
On a 25 insight, do I believe that?
He's a businessman.
Yes, that is true. honest is imagine stretching the truth a mighty ways.
There's definitely more to unpack than you can work out from what he said. He's a businessman and a law-abiding one, but there's more to that. You're sure there's more to that story?
Might I ask, whose interests do you serve? What business interests do you put forth your endeavours in?
Only the reputation of the Harwell, Drywell, Union Bank, and I give you a business card.
Will, you see Augustine going to the pocket where you saw a very faint glow of magic through your detect magic spell last night. Yeah, and what does the business card look like?
So this I could never find one that had the feel that I can tell you what it says. I just can't describe like what the print is or anything like that.
Sure.
So it says Augustine Alder, branch manager. On the back it says life-changing loans, life-changing debts.
And then Harlem Drywell Union
Harwell,
Bank.
Drywell, Union Bank. Yeah.
Okay, that Harlan Drywell Union Bank.
Yeah.
And the moment you finish reading the card, it disappears out of your hand.
The bank, the Harlan Union Bank, or Harlan Drywell Union Bank, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Am I familiar with this institution?
I'm going to say history for that one.
Probably not. That is a grand total of 6.
No, never heard of them.
So,
there are many private banks and there's no public ones, so
but it's not ringing any bells that worry me.
no, not at all.
Okay, cool.
If anything, if it was one you had heard of, that would be more worrying.
All right, cool.
Yeah, Arlen Drywell Union Bank.
Does the card reach Ms? She is at the front, so if no one passes her the card, then it will never reach her.
Well, Will is
She's
probably
constantly-
walking alongside the card and keeping pace with it, despite the fact that he seems to be using his cane.
I can assure you all, I have nothing but the bank's interest at heart. And obviously, if the bank can help you, all the better.
How would a bank help us?
Well, I mean, you look like an inventor to me. Haven't you ever worried about having the resources to build the things you want to build? I mean, take no offense, but it looks like you've got some scraps in that bag. What if you had a full-blown lab and the funding to go with it?
Her eyes will light up at this. Yes. Ooh.
And as he's giving the pitch, like anyone who's not directly talking, you can tell this is like a well-rehearsed speech. He's done this many, many times.
Miz, don't sign anything he gives you without running it by me first, please.
Okay. She's tempted, but listens to the old man.
You don't have to make a deal today. The bank is always open. We're always willing to make a deal.
Now, I'm not telling you not to make a deal. I'm just telling you to consult me first. I don't want to see you falling prey to predatory practices.
Predatory? I am offended, sir. Predatory indeed. Oh my goodness.
No, he's a scientist. He's got a lab. He's gonna give me a lab.
No, he doesn't have a lab.
I can
He
give
wants
you
to
money.
give you
and
money.
money can buy you a lab.
But then he's going to expect to get money back from that, and that would mean that you have to earn money to pay to him.
She looks genuinely shocked at this, and she's like, "Wait, you want the money back? I'd have to give you back the lab."
No. Just a tiny bit of interest. We don't even insist you pay the money back. Just a little bit on the side.
So you give me 25 gold, and I give you 1 gold, and we call it quits.
I mean, we're not talking about 25 gold. I wouldn't do a deal at 25 gold, and let's be honest, I don't think you would either. The bar is very low.
I don't know how much a lab costs. 27 gold?
We can do some numbers. We can work something out. I mean, we gotta. It's not just the lab. It's all the supplies. It's all the little bits of wire that you're using.
You'll need
Gotta
to
cost
set
these
out.
things up.
You will need to set out a solid business plan before you secure any funding from any financial backers.
The use of the term business plan has now caused her to lose interest. And she's now
No,
concentrating on...
don't you worry about business plan. We've got some fine people who can help you out with that. I mean, not everyone is expected to know the ins and outs of the business around here. I mean, come on, let's be honest. We don't want to have all of these businesses around here run by the hoity-toity type, you know? Everybody deserves an honest shot at business. Even me.
Yeah. There we go. Sorry, learned on my cable. Yeah, she's kind of lost. Some of it was getting through, and then she's lost interest. But you might be able to return to it later.
I'm pretty sure it's Augustine who's lost the interest.
Now that goes for all of you. If you want to consult me, just get my ear at some point. I'm sure we can work out some details. And I have many satisfied customers.
And how many dissatisfied?
I was just about to ask that, dearie.
None as far as I'm aware.
Well, dearie, I don't need any money. Well, everyone needs a little bit of money, but I don't need any money. I'm looking for something else, something the bank probably can't help with. So,
I hear that.
You continue on. You can see the canyon ahead of you, which is where these foothills narrow in, just in sort of this square here as you move on to the last bit of the day. You're going to be going through this, rocky walls. You can see there are layers of limestone and fossils trapped between. You see like a full ichthyosaur long fish skeleton, just half crumbled out of the wall already. Not an uncommon sight, though. And can I get another perception check from everyone?
4 again. I'm rolling lots of 4s with this dice. Well, 3s, but with a +1.
23. This dice is rolling amazingly. Those new ones.
Lillian, you can hear that singing again.
Can I try and lock in on it, where it's coming from?
Yes. Roll me investigation, I would say.
16.
As you begin to wend your way through this canyon, knowing that the open lands, the savanna scrubland of Fort Morgan is only a few miles ahead, wending through this twisting, rocky-walled canyon, you are straining your ears and then trying to trace the cause of this sound. And then, very definitely, you hear one frequency of this haunting song move. There is a high, keening soprano, a soft, warm alto, and a rich bass. And you hear one of those 3 notes. Although they all seem to be coming from all around you, one of them moves.
Iris, I think we're being surrounded a bit.
All of you can now hear this intertwining, dirge-like melody all around you. Could I get a wisdom save from everybody? And initiative from everybody.
Oh, 21 on the wisdom save.
23 on the wisdom save.
21 on the wisdom save.
14 for the whiz save on me.
Nice.
And 11 on the initiative.
16 on the initiative.
Only a 6.
We've got 21, 16, 11, and 6. Okay. You should be all on something where it's just black, is that correct?
Yep.
Correct.
Don't know any token with vision in this scene.
Okay, now.
Ooh.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. From above you, you hear this keening song increase in intensity until it's almost maddening and deafening. And then, screeching in from above, you see these three bird-like creatures, partly humanoid, like long vulture heads. You all succeed on the wisdom save against the song that was hoping to ensnare and enchant you into defenselessness. I need to roll some dice as well. There we go. That's got. Sorry, I'm still getting used to the Foundry battles because I'm not actually going to be using it, so I haven't done any preparation.
That's fine.
Okay, so it's got. Okay, so Augustine, as you hear these shrieking cries of a couple of the from a couple of different directions, I'm just gonna, yeah, you can hear above here on top of this pillar of rock, there is the sound of flapping and moving, and one of these bird creatures with the long naked necks and the vulture heads peers over and then ducks back behind.
Up there in them hills. Is it climbable, this thing?
It could be, but you'd be using it would be using your at least your 2 of your actions to do so.
Okay.
So it's probably, you don't have a climb speed, do you?
No.
I'd say you wouldn't be able to get up the top with a round's movement. No.
Okay, then I will ready a thrown dagger if anything jumps out at me.
Cool,
Other
cool.
than that, I will not do much else.
Nice. Okay. Well, your ready action goes off. One of these creatures dives down here, flies over towards here, and is going to. It has like its wings, its upper limbs are just wings, but it has these long hooked claws, and it attempts to slash into Miz.
Nope.
Miz, there's a 12 hit.
It does not, no.
Okay. Could I also get an acrobatics or athletics check? Your choice.
I'll go acrobatics, I think. It's 13.
Okay. This thing grasps onto you and begins to try and flap desperately to bring you up into the air. It's currently not able to do it on its own. However, another of the creatures appears from up here. It comes over. Augustine, you had a readied dagger attack.
$24 to hit.
A 24 definitely hits.
13 damage.
There is an enemy within 5 feet of it if you wait long enough. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So that is 13 damage. 2, 3. Yeah, you sent a dagger just straight into the neck of the thing, and it burst outwards, the shower of like thick red blood. And you sort of send the dagger sailing through between as Miz is sort of desperately getting her arms up to try and protect herself. You send it whizzing in the slightest of gaps between her and Will, and skewer the thing right in the neck. Yeah. Another one appears, and Miz, could I get another acrobatics or athletics check?
Yes. 15.
Okay, once again, this thing tries along with its buddy. You're the smallest, most easily carryable morsel around. and it attempts to pick you up and hoist you away to whatever nest lies at the top of these cliffs. You basically just clock it in the side of the head, and it disrupts the grapple long enough for you to escape. So you are currently not being hoisted anymore. However, it is going to try and slash at you again with its claws. That's a 5 hit.
No.
Fair enough. Okay. Who had the 16? Remind me.
That was me.
Will, it's your turn.
Excellent, excellent. So, the one that's injured, is it in melee range of me? Which I believe is the south one.
Yes, it is within 5 feet of you, indeed.
Okay, in that case, I bring up my cane and unsheath the sword from it,
Yeah.
and then I just try to thunk.
Okay, roll me an attack.
Say 21 to hit.
Certainly hits, yeah.
And this is the D8. It's 5. 9 slashing damage.
9 slashing damage. Fantastic. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, this one is not looking. Yeah, you just sort of rake the sword right across the rib cage of it.
Oh,
and you can
bollocks.
see the breastbone, like the pinion muscle that holds the wings, able to flap, just gets slashed. It is extremely unhappy about that.
Is it dead?
It is not dead, no.
Okay, I should have cast Hex on it first.
You can do so now if you want to.
I will Hex it now, though.
Okay, cool. How do you hex it? What happens?
Ooh, that's a very good... I just go... Scan!
Scan initiated. Yep. A little crosshair appears over various arteries and veins on the thing, across the eyes, various points on the wings.
No, wait. That's not how I do it. I just remembered how I do it.
Okay.
Shit, this would have been better if I remembered to do it before drawing the sword. Okay, no, I just fling my hand forward, and you see what appears to be dust just goes... A thin layer of dust just goes off my hand and just goes... and just coats the thing.
Excellent. Cool. Okay. It is, I am afraid, another harpy. Can I get another wisdom saving throw from everyone? You hear this
Nat 20!
You hear this rich bass come from a male harpy to the south and starts again inside your ears. That was 12, 18, natural 20. Lillian?
20.
Again, you all shrug off this sonic attack as it uses its turn to do that. I don't know, I'm gonna move it bit by bit because some of you might catch a glimpse of it, depending on what your vision is like.
Ah.
You see something flit across the canyon to the side. Okay. Lillian, you got the 11, was that right?
Yes, I did.
It's your turn.
Lillian sees them attacking this, like, what is a teenager, and kind of just looks at this harpy here, and should really leave girls alone, dear. Reaches forward and tries to grab the harpy, casting Inflict Wounds. I got a natural 20. This harpy's fucked.
Please roll 6d10 necrotic damage.
I'm rolling that in the thing because I'm not rolling 6d10.
Please do.
I love critting on and inflict wounds.
Yeah, Freya.
Oh!
Very nice. So what does Lillian's magic look like?
So in this case, because it's the necrotic side, her entire hand turns black for a second, and you just watch her grab hold. Like the harpy doesn't maybe doesn't know what's happening, and it's like, oh, this wolf was just kind of trying to grab me. What do I care?
By its long, like worm-like, naked vulture neck, and it begins to, as your grip tightens around its carotid and jugular, it begins to flap upwards, and this pulse of energy goes in it, and it. The weight of years and aging comes upon this thing, and all its skin goes sallow and wrinkled. The eyes grow dim. It is incredibly hurt by that. Got 31 points of damage.
It's a big fucking hit.
It's a big fucking hit. It's a big fucking hit.
Is it still alive?
It is still alive,
Ooh.
but it's really not well. Miz, it's your turn. You, unless there's anything else you want to do in your turn, Eileen?
She might just say, if you want to live, deity, run.
Roll me a nature check.
Sure. 9.
These harpies don't appear to have intelligence in their eyes other than those of beasts. They are shrieking and squawking, but something you've noticed is that the skull, which appears to translate language in Miz's backpack, hasn't been saying anything. They're not speaking a formal language. So you feel like your You Better Run may have fallen on uncomprehending ears. Miz, what would you like to do?
I'm still on the ground, right?
You're not on the ground. Basically, one of them was trying to pick you up and fly away with you.
Okay.
If the other one had got a purchase, they would have been able to start flying.
Okay,
But-
so I assume the one to the south of me is kind of gripped me slightly then?
Yes, it has. That one has you grappled, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will pull out what looks like a bronze 6-shooter, except the chamber that holds all the rounds is missing, and instead there's like a slight white pulse that starts to pull dirt and rocks up from the ground, and they form projectiles. And I point it at the one that's got me fire, and then one of these projectiles is shot at high speed towards this thing.
Could you make that roll at disadvantage, please?
Yep, that's absolutely fine. And that will be how do I? Okay, I'm just gonna.
If you go
roll against
over,
it.
okay.
Oh, that's not good.
7 does not hit, I'm afraid. Where this thing is sort of flapping up in your face and trying to claw your eyes and your the delicate veins in your neck. The shot just goes wide, and you see the other three of you see the shot powers into the side of the rock wall and just leaves a full, like, fist-sized, melon-sized hole in the rock from this weird, magnetism gun. Anything else in your turn?
I'm just double checking, but I think that's that is it.
Excellent. Augustine, it's your go.
I will sprint around William, and similar to him, out of his cane comes a rapier, and I will.
We stand a sword cane here.
Yeah. 20 to hit.
If you'd moved just one square to the south and east, you would have had advantage on that.
This chap here.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really not going to matter.
Okay.
Augustine runs back. You grab the bird by the feathers at the top of the crown of the head, pull its beak backwards, and jam the rapier through the spinal cord and out of the mouth. Will, you... no, actually, no. No one gets immediately showered by all the blood that spews forth from the open wound in its brain. Certainly this first harpy is down. What would you like to do?
I'll
Anything
pick up.
else,
Say again?
Anything else on your turn?
I'll pick up the dagger that I had thrown at it.
Brilliant. Yeah, you sort of as it flaps down to the ground and goes still, where the dagger is still in the side of the neck, you put a foot on it and it comes forth with a spray of blood. Um, this harpy over here, I'm gonna delete it. No. This harpy over here, you can see panic in a bestial panic in its eyes. I'm gonna roll an int check for it, just for my little old self. Yeah, it's gonna take the disengage action and flap up off back to the top of that rock pillar.
I like to think that Lillian's just standing there and like throws like the necrotic energy on the ground, and it just.
Fair, yeah. The other one, so that one's fucking gone. Will, your turn.
So that one that went up and away
Yeah.
is just
Oh, would I be able to get an attack of?
it disengaged.
Use
Oh,
the
it
action to disengage.
Yeah. No.
So I can't see it at all anymore, can I?
You can't currently see any of them, no.
Okay, in that case, I'll put the sword cane down. Use the quick select wheel to just go dink, and then what looks like a revolver, a 6-shooter, but made of blue light. It looks square and blocky like a 6-bit holographic revolver just appears in his hand, and I'm going to prep an Eldritch Blast.
Very good.
Nice.
At the first enemy I see in range.
Okay. This harpy, I think. I'm gonna roll a. Oh, did not roll well. Augustine. Will, you're gonna get an Eldritch Blast off as one starts to. It notices Augustine just murk its mate and begins to shoot straight for him.
Do I have advantage at all, do I?
You won't know.
Natural
one?
That one.
Yeah. You sort of line up this blast and it just spirals in the air and comes straight back down towards Augustine. It's like frothing and rageful. With a 6 and a 9 total. You basically fence it off with your sword cane, like fully like just like defensive fencing maneuvers, like with a foil. As this thing tries to grasp at you and claw at your neck and face, all these vulnerable bits at the head. And it absolutely misses. That was turn. Lillian, it's your turn.
She strides forward, putting Miss behind her.
Yeah.
Oh dearie. And as she's kind of like walking forward, she pulls up the other hand, and this one glows with light, and a guiding bolt shoots out before she gets to that point.
Very good. Roll your attack roll.
18 plus 6.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So 4d6. Let's do it here. 4d6. Ooh! 22 points of damage.
Will, you know how last night you were thinking to yourself that Lillian scared you a little and you weren't sure why?
Mm-hmm. I know why now? Yeah.
This blaster light just takes it under the jaw and the flesh begins to burn away from its face as this halo of radiant energy stays around its head, giving anyone else advantage on the next attack against it. I was at 22.
Yeah.
22 out of 24, I believe, for that one.
Yeah.
Okay. That is going to be Mrs. turn.
Okay, so as she's
this-
been released,
Sorry, Karen.
she's holding the 6-shooter in both hands. You notice that now that she's no longer battling the harpy directly, her armor's digs in slightly so that the force of the cannon isn't knocking her back. She lines up a shot. Did you say advantage?
You won't. I don't believe you'll have advantage.
Guiding bolt.
No.
On that one, yeah.
With the halo that you
The
said
guiding
in the
bolt.
previous.
Oh, sorry. Completely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The thing I said has no mechanical benefit, just flavor text. 16 to hit.
16 to hit. That certainly hits. Yeah.
And it is hit for 9 damage.
That's the one that just got guiding bolted. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike, I believe if you hover over where it says 16, you should see a little plus or something appear on the edge of one of it. So that
No,
you can...
usually I do, but in this I'm.
No, that's all right.
Oh, I think it's because I'm rolling from D&D Beyond into Foundry.
Oh, right, yeah. In that case, if you right-click on it in D&D Beyond, it can tell you to roll with advantage, disadvantage, or a flat.
Can I get a perception check from everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm too busy concentrating on the shot.
19.
18.
18, 19, 16. Everyone except Miz. You can hear the shrieks of more of these creatures from behind you in the canyon, so up to the north. They don't sound super close, but they are approaching, having heard this noise, sort of from up in that direction. That was Miz. Yeah, so Augustine, it's your turn.
I will continue to fence it as I circle it.
Sure.
And we'll give it another.
Yeah, sort of pressing your back up against the rock wall. You're sort of there waiting for an opening. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Again, you go around as this one is distracted by the burning energy and the bullet lodged in its chest. You neatly slash it across the back of the neck, severing spinal cord, and a flick of bone comes off as well as one of the vertebral spines goes pinging off and clicks against a rock. You have handily dispatched that. Cool. That was Augustine. That is now this one remaining harpy. I am going to... can I get a wisdom save from everyone, to be honest?
I was looking at that going, what the hell is that? What's 00 on this dice? Oh no, it's sideways. That was an 8. 11 total.
11 as well.
Okay. Lillian and Will, you feel this pulse in your temples as this sound beats down from the shriek of this harpy. You look up and see its face just peeking over the edge of the cliff and sending this sonic attack at you. And you can no longer hear it as it starts to take root. And both of you, making the DC exactly, just shake the last harpy's song off. You guys rolled real fucking well on all these whiz saves.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4 successes, 3 for 3.
Like, if we'd all failed, that would have gone very badly for us.
It
Still could.
then flaps off in the other direction. I'm going to keep you in initiative rounds for now, although we're going to drop out of combat. You can hear and see dark shapes flapping about the canyon after you. What I'm going to ask you to do is we're going to enter a skill challenge. So on your turn, you can make a skill check that you think would be appropriate, and you're going to need to get a certain amount of successes before you get a certain amount of failures. So that was Augustine's turn. Will, it's your turn.
Okay. I'm thinking that I would like to use Silent Image.
Yep.
To create an image of an appetizing looking target who will remain behind whilst we move on.
Very good. Okay. I'll say roll deception with advantage in that case.
Marvelous. Is it better? No.
Does that end your hex, by the way?
It does end my hex, yes.
Anyone who has a passive perception, I'm going to say like 13 or more, you can see the grey dust that was shot over the one of the harpies has begun to eat into the body like some kind of acid. And as this illusion appears, that process stops. What do you summon with the silent image?
I'm going to go with a... I'm going to go with a humanoid.
Yep.
It's going to be a scrawny-looking young girl.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you summon up this illusory thing. You can see maybe 10 more of these creatures, and a few that look substantially bigger, and maybe are matriarchs or some kind of to use decredited science, alpha, like a bigger example of the same species.
I'm also going to hop in the back of the wagon, and then I'm going to be keeping concentration on the spell and move and using my ability, the action on subsequent turns, to move it to try and make it seem like it's panicking, so that they should come towards it. And I got a 22.
That is most certainly a success. You can see of these dark shapes just flitting around and like hanging on the canyon walls like bats occasionally. Yeah, a number of them fly down and start to take like passes. Again, exactly what they were trying to do to Miz as the smallest target. Grasp them, grapple them, and lift them up in the air, and then drop them and shatter them over the stones. Lillian, what would you like to do?
So are we in the cart, or we're still where
Currently off of the cart.
So we're off of the cart. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to grab Missy with strength that belies my age, hurl Miss onto the cart, on top of the coffin if need be, and then jump onto the beetle.
Okay, roll me athletics in that case.
Sure.
To just try and expedite the process.
16.
For sure. Miz, you find yourself hoisted in the air, and for a second you panic and think more of these bird creatures have appeared. But then you look around and it is the strong arms of this armoured grandmother figure just holds you bodily into the cart with... You don't feel like she should have been able to do that, but she really did.
Come on, anytime.
Yeah. You find yourself sort of... You're not prone, you're sort of just sat back against the coffin in the cart. And it is your turn.
So what I would do is okay, so I've still got the revolver, but I will grab one of the projectiles that's formed and then holster the weapon, and I will pass a crystal over it so that it emits the odor of fresh dead meat, and then I will try and hurl it in the opposite direction from the cart to where we're going, if that makes sense.
So off in like this direction.
Yes. So
cool. I'm going to say that's going to be...
I can make the smell using magical tinkering, but I imagine it'll be a dex throw based on how far I can throw it.
Yeah, I would say just roll me raw dex, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's... I fumbled that.
You send this pellet just with this waft of carrion off in the other direction. But it seems like it hasn't distracted them any. They're much more a fan of the wriggling live meat.
Cool.
Augustine.
So all three of them are now on the cart, right?
Will, I don't believe is, no.
No, Will did jump in the cart.
Will jump in the cart. Okay, that's fine, yeah. Yes, they are, yeah.
So with a natural speed, I will just zoom straight to the cart, almost unnaturally so.
Yeah. This blur of movement happens as Augustine, like a champion sprinter, like in a almost odd speed, uh, settles in the car and then is there, not looking like he's rushed, pristine, handsome, sitting in the car, ready to go. Um, what would you like to do? Is there anything you would like to do to aid in your escape?
I was very tempted to get some rope and, much like a hunter would tie up his kill, tie up the two corpses of the harpies that were at our feet
Yeah.
and bring them along with us.
Okay. I'm gonna say survival. Yeah.
Oh fuck!
2 failures, I'm afraid. You do this. You basically lasso one of these bird creatures around the neck. But you saw how the one that as you do this, you suddenly have this horrible realization. You remember what happened when you killed one of them. These are social creatures, even if not intelligent. And you see a good number of them see this happen and their broodmate being dragged away and just hauled along the ground and broken, and 5 or 6 of these dark figures hone in on you and begin chasing the cart. Will.
Okay. Am I? So are we actually moving?
You're not. So the cart is moving. So that you're not like going at top speed though. If you wanted to make like animal handling to try and get the beetle to go faster, you certainly can.
No, that's not for me, I'm afraid.
Okay.
That is not a role that I think I could comfortably do.
I'm just going to move you all down like that.
Okay. So the silent image.
Yeah.
Is it still working, or have they, have they moved on from that after finding out that they can't actually interact with it at all?
It's for sure still working for some of them, but it won't have any additional effect now.
But I mean, well, I can still keep the concentration up, but if I do another action, then it won't be moving anymore. So that's what I'll do, and I will use my quick select wheel to pull out the gigantic 8-bit revolver again, and I'll just start firing Eldritch Blasts at them as they start approaching.
Okay, so roll me in that case Eldritch Blast attack to try and like suppressing fire almost.
Yeah, suppressing fire. That's a natural 1.
Oh.
I should stop rolling Eldritch Blasts. That's 2 Eldritch Blasts with natural 1s.
So as you fire off this blast of force, this sort of weird boiling cloud of air, part of the cavern wall collapses inwards, and it sort of slams in just straight behind you. I think I remember how to do walls. Let me. Yeah. That worked. That might work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we can still see it in Fog of War style, but we can't.
Sure.
But we just see it in shadow
collapse
now.
behind you. And then in front of you, a huge bird-like creature. This one has many times more mass than the others. Settles down in front of you, and it seems to have a measure of social control over the others. And they line the tops of the canyon as this massive bird looks at you pinned against this rockfall and snarl. I'm going to roll initiative for that one. Okay, that's a natural 20.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay. Who is driving the car?
Lily's on the back of the beast, so I think technically Lily?
Okay. What's your AC?
17.
this thing leaps in and begins to just savage you, like the beak and the claws gripping into your armor and trying to rip. You take 6 damage from the beak and 13 damage from the claws.
I'm unconscious.
Ooh.
It is Augustine's turn.
So is this creature? Where is this creature in relation to us?
It is directly in front of you. Let me find there, basically.
If the cart continues to move, I will just attack it from on the cart. If it's stopped, I will get off the cart and.
Sure. Lillian, can I get you to roll me a raw d20?
19.
19. You fall forward onto the rhino's carapace. You do not fall off, and the rhino beetle continues moving. Augustine, the beetle is still moving. The cart is still moving.
Yeah.
11 total.
Technically, Lillian is unconscious, so I don't think sneak attack applies here.
Let me double check the wording of sneak attack. It depends whether. Also depends whether the beetle is allied to you.
I would assume it is.
Yeah, totally.
I would say probably, yeah. Yeah, I say you can have sneak attack here, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Will, it's your turn. This thing has just landed, savaged Lillian at the front, even through the heavy armor. You can see blood oozing out between these armor plates in the duster.
It's not good. Okay, so as a bonus action, I am going to curse it.
Yep.
And then I am going to attempt to use the quick select wheel, hold out my hand like that the entire hand shoots forward on cables in an attempt to grab it.
Outstanding. What form does your hex take? Your curse, sorry.
Ooh, I think I'm not sure. I've got two things that are very similar: the curse and the hex. I've done the hex with the dissolving thing going onto it.
Yeah.
The curse, I'm thinking this one is the scan. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see one of Will's eyes glows bright, deep red. And Will, in your vision, yeah, you can see all of these almost like acupuncture points appear over this thing's body where the scan has identified the best places to hurt it.
Mm-hmm.
Roll your attack roll.
Okay, that is a 15 plus 6, 21 to hit.
Oh, yeah.
And it is going to take
Is that lightning you?
7 lightning damage. That's Witch Bolt.
Witch bolt, for sure. Okay, cool. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And the
5,
hand
6.
just stays on it. You can see electricity just course down the wire and just.
Yeah, it begins
tase
to
it.
innervate like it's being tased. Yeah. Lillian, that's your go. Could I have a death save, please?
Oh wait, hang on. Sorry, 2 more damage on top of that.
Plus 2. X.
I was trying to remember if I had advantage on this or not. I do not.
Check in myself.
13. So one
I think that is success. You feel your mistress, your patron, your god, your something at least. Now, dear. Fight the good fight.
Oh,
Miss.
dear, it's not time for me yet.
Am I able to clamber across to Lillian?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're just behind her on the car.
Cool. I'm not sure if this is for humans, but let's give it a try. And I will jab you with something to try and stabilize you, which I assume is a medicine check.
Yeah. That is a success. Yeah. You Lillian, your eyes are hazy, and but you feel your heartbeat steady as this teenager basically jabs you with a syringe full of something. You're not quite sure.
Oh, your bedside manner could do a bit of work.
Nothing to find.
Okay, I need to double check a Here's the thing: unconscious doesn't give you. This thing is going to try and grapple Lillian. It has made a kill in its estimation,
Mm-hmm.
and it wants to carry it off to the nest.
Sure.
However, I think just by your pure weight, and the fact you're wearing heavy metal armor, could you roll me an athletics check, please? I don't think acrobatics is appropriate, but to contest the grapple, yeah.
Can I use my reaction to try and grab hold of Lillian's legs to make it more difficult to be carried off?
Yes. Let's go on then, yeah. So Lillian, what did you get?
So, am I rolling with advantage or am I just rolling straight?
I'd say roll straight, and then Mrs. action might come into play if you break
17.
17. You're dense for a grandma, right? Like,
Yeah.
even this bigger thing tries to grapple you and fails. It is, however, it sees Miz try to steal its kill and is going to come for Miz with its beak. Does an 18 hit?
It does, yes.
7 damage.
7. Okay.
Augustine, it's your turn.
I mean, let's just keep going.
But by the way, this encounter was the consequence of failing the skill challenge. So you don't have to keep 11 to hit. That hits barely. You and 12 damage. It is unhappy about this. Grievously unhappy. 1, 2, 2. Yeah. How do you attack it? Is that with the rapier? Yeah. Yeah. You basically just pass the. You try to go for like the breastbone and the heart and the lungs, and it shifts to the side just last minute. But you skewer it through the wing pinion here in the arm. That was Augustine. Will, it's your turn.
Piss off! And 9 lightning damage.
Is that including the 2 from?
That's including the +2, yes.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Yeah, it is very unhappy about this. Lillian, can I get death save? Oh, no, you're stable. Never mind.
Stable.
Yeah, Miz, it's your turn again.
Okay. Could the position of Lillian, am I able to clamber slightly further forward so Lillian isn't directly in front of me? Mechanically, there's something that I can do that will shoot out in a straight line, but I don't want to injure.
Roll me acrobatics.
That is a 15.
Yeah, you can. Basically, you are like rough riding. So you're crouched on the shell of the beetle, and sort of over Lillian's unconscious form, like protectively.
Cool. So yeah, as I climb to the front, I grab 2 vials, sort of on my side holster, mix them together, shake them up, and then kind of throw it forward as it sort of turns into a bright green and just explodes in front of me for 30 feet. It will. So that.
So it's got to make a dex save first of all. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. That is a success, I'm afraid, on the dex save.
Yeah. Cool.
With a 16.
Oh, cool. So it doesn't even take anything. Okay. Sailor B. That will be all I can do.
Okay, so that was all be covered in acid. So it takes no damage from that. Is that correct?
Yeah, as far as I can tell, yeah.
Okay, it is back to this creature's go. It has gone from relatively okay and extremely angry to grievously injured in only a few seconds. It's going to take one last ditch attempt to drag Lillian's body away, and then it's going. Can I get one last athletics check from Lillian, please?
Sure. He can fuck off with a natural 20. So
On a 7, yeah. Tries to drag you away, but with Miz there now as well, it just can't get a purchase, and you're heavy and made of metal, and it shrieks in venomous anger, and doesn't need to disengage because of one of its features, and flits off into the up into the sky, and you see all of the things, all of its little minions, its brood, follow it, and you are left
What's its
in the
movement speed?
canyon. Say again?
What's its movement speed?
80 feet.
And is it double moving?
No, it's single moving because it uses its action to.
It doesn't need to disengage.
Yeah, it doesn't. It has flyby. Uses its action to try and grapple and fly.
Right.
But gets 80 feet instead of 40 feet, which is what it would have if it had managed to grab Lillian.
Okay, well, my hand disengages and just does... And
Pulls
then...
back in like a hoover.
Yeah, and then for my next turn, whilst it's still in range... Dink! Big gun! 120
cool.
feet range on Eldritch Blast.
Go for it. Give me a parting shot. Why not?
11.
Hits?
Oh!
You could be really lucky. You have to be really lucky, though.
Yeah. That's a total of 6.
You weren't quite lucky enough.
Ooh, plus 2. 8.
You're still not quite lucky.
Damn!
enough. This thing, like, it's screeching in fury with this vicious anger over having been not only lost some of its hatchlings and its brood, but also been cheated out of the kill that it had already got. Lillian, you're sort of fading in and out of consciousness at this point, but you can sense the danger is abating.
Ooh, I could...
Did it-
No, never mind. It's probably out
Did it
of line of sight.
Yeah.
Did
And
it disengage?
it has flyby, so it doesn't take an opportunity attacks from disengaging, from not disengaging. And suddenly you can hear the cawing of these bird creatures way off in the distance, and then, like gulls on a harbour side, you hear it fading and fading until all you're left with the sound in the canyon of the wind.
How long does it take before I recover? 4 hours. Cool.
You guys, so Miz's syringe full of coagulant or whatever horse tranquilizer was in that syringe. It has done its work, but Lillian is fully out for the count. She's taken some horrible wounds. But you travel safely through the canyon. You come out into there we go. You come out and you can see Fort Morgan ahead of you. No worries, Richard, just saw the message. You can see Fort Morgan ahead of you, maybe 10, 15 miles. You'll get there tomorrow morning. In fact, if you push through the night, you could get there tonight. Lillian, you come to consciousness, groggy and...
We'd probably put her in the back of the cart rather than leaving her on the beetle.
Yeah, no, for real. Yeah, you make her as comfortable as you can. You sort of bind her wounds and dress them. And of course, one of you apparently draws love hearts on her face.
That could be anyone.
It could have been anyone. Could have
Could be anyone.
been. But yeah, feel free to roll hit dice for recovering.
You posted that in Witchlight, Mike.
Oh, that's my bad.
Yeah, if you push on through the night, after the sun goes down, you could get there early hours of the morning. Otherwise, it'll be getting there midday tomorrow.
I think,
Is Lillian recovered, or is she still
After
unconscious?
4
That will
hours.
determine.
maybe 4 hours before I wake up.
That takes you to sort of end of the day, like 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
Which is when Lillian begins to stir.
You probably come into the middle of the conversation about if we keep going, if we find camp. Well, I'm all for keeping going, pushing through to get there sooner rather than later.
Oh,
Plus,
Good
you know,
to see I'm
without
not
Lillian.
dead.
Oh, hello, Lillian.
yes, I'm not dead yet, dearies. I'm a bit rusty in all the combat and all that, but you know.
There's the woman who fully Mortal Kombat finished her eye.
Granny, you're back.
Yeah, I never left, not yet anyways, not yet, not my time.
The sun is setting, and the sky is turning into that deep sort of blue, bordering on indigo. If you're going to be camping, you should start looking now.
So either we need to find somewhere to camp now, or we need to press through into the night. I kind of want to get there sooner, but at the same time, I'm very aware that travelling at night can be very dangerous.
I say we push on. Leave the harpies properly in the dust.
I'm in agreement, given they nearly killed me, dear.
Okay.
I'm happy to keep going.
Perception checks at disadvantage for everyone.
Say again, sorry?
Could I get perception checks at disadvantage? Lillian, do you have dark vision?
My what?
Do you have dark vision?
Do I have dark
Can't
vision?
remember.
I can't remember either.
I'm not going to roll the second dice because I can't get lower than a 1.
I got 11.
Go back.
Sure.
Yes,
Wait,
I
wait.
do have dark vision.
You can make a regular perception check then.
In that case, I have 22.
Okay. Yeah, you can see, all of you can see the lights of the city across this vast, flat, scrubland plain. Fort Morgan itself is built into like a natural canyon. Oh, Rich has disappeared. I shall pause.
That's fine.
We're nearing the end. It's fine.
Oh, Granny, also, I'd avoid salt for the next 12 hours, otherwise your eyeballs might explode.
Thank you, dearie. I tend to avoid salt anyways at my age.
I'm sorry, did you say her eyeballs might explode?
Yes. Well, what I injected her wasn't strictly meant for humans, but you were dying, Granny.
I appreciate the fact that I'm no longer dying. That, you know, it's a nice feeling. It's lovely. Lovely to not be dying. Although I feel like I have more holes than I did before.
You okay, Rich? Cool. So all of you can see the lights of the city of Fort Morgan way, way off in the plains as you continue on through the night. The city itself, probably most of you will have at least been past, if not into. It's built into a natural crescent-shaped canyon, the tops of which are topped with cannons and ballistae and trebuchets and all manner of weaponry, which makes it really the last bastion of human civilization on the Westward Way. There have been other attempts to set up population centers further west, but none of them have survived. The canyon, in the way that it has been formed, gives a 200-foot natural rock wall around 2/3 of the city, and then to the south is an artificial stone wall, one that is not naturally put in. And then there is a gatehouse, which is essentially a giant block of stone, which is raised up by an artificer mechanism, like a mechanical lifter, which basically just takes this giant block of stone, which can be lowered or raised to let people into the city. Lillian, with the only one who can really see in the dark, you can see there's a bunch of animal life out here. You go past a grove of mercy trees. You also hear a creaking and a kicking sound, like a scuffling, off to your probably to the south of you, very briefly.
I have no idea what it is. It's too far out of my sight range, I'd guess.
It's probably not more than twice outside of your sight range. You can hear it, but it's further than 60 feet away.
Um, I think what Lily will do, she's pretty injured. She'll touch. She'll go, how's your throwing arm, dear? And point and kind of like tap, miss.
My throwing arm's not that good, but I've got a throwing claw, and then there's like just a mechanical catapult.
Do.
in the
And
big foot.
she'll take like a bit of like a rock or something that's in the cart, cast light on it in her hand, put it in the claw. Throw it down that way, dear. I want to see if something's over there trying to sneak up on us.
The
Cool.
rock sails through the air, illuminating the cold desert. The light, this kind of light at this time of night, the yellow sand is grey, and the rock sails past into a small grove of mercy trees, and backlit are three hanging figures, hanging from nooses around their necks from the branches of one of the mercy trees. They are kicking and struggling weakly.
Lillian gets up off the cart.
Yep.
And goes running at them.
Will
Probably has the
follow.
dagger in her hand.
Roll religion for me, Lillian.
Sure.
It's not a difficult check.
18.
You are well acquainted with death in all its forms, and you're well acquainted with the undead.
Hmm.
You know that necromancers, wizards, some good, some bad, are capable of pouring raw, pure energy into corpses to create undead.
Hmm.
But sometimes when someone suffers a horrific end, or a torturous one, sometimes souls can linger in the body and create undead another way as well. Hanging from the nooses are three zombies in the regalia of someone you've been warned about, the Firebird Company. Their flesh has been rent. One of them is a giant, so a Goliath, and two of them are humans, all male. Their shirts have been ripped open and carved into the flesh. One or two words apiece is the words "All Firebirds will die." Their hands are tied behind their backs.
So, seeing this and getting close enough to them now to see what this is, I think Lillian kind of looks up at them, and then you hear the bells again from Toll the Dead as she tries to kind of just end their existences. If they're
Again,
not moving.
as we saw in our prologue, these pitiable creatures, just lost souls tied by their end to the world. You hear the bell sound, and yeah, I'm not going to make you roll. They are restrained with no means of breaking free. Other people might have piked them or stoved their heads in to give them rest. Others would have just left them. Out in the Outlands, many would have just left them. But as you sound the death knell of each of these men, you hear a sigh as they turn to the afterlife. Fort Morgan is only a few hours ahead of you now. The three of you see Lillian backlit by this glowing rock.
Will went with her.
Yeah. She returns to the cart. Yeah, you can see, three Firebird mercenaries stripped of weapons, with this gruesome message carved into their chests. And yeah, unless anyone has anything else they want to do, you press on for Fort Morgan.
I think Lily,
Yeah.
I think Lily, when she's finished, she turns around, sees William there, and just says to him, "Punishment, dear, is fine, but once you're dead, everyone deserves a peaceful end. Once you're gone."
Well, I can't disagree there. I just hope it's a long time off for me yet.
Lily looks at him. You can hope, dearie. There are lots of strange magics in the world, after all.
Not just magics. And then Will hobbles back using his cane.
You board the cart, and the wheels creaking with wood Press on for Fort Morgan. You arrive in the early hours, 4 a.m. The sky has begun to turn to a lighter blue. But even so, as you approach the gate, you hear the cocking of rifle hammers and the drawing of bowstrings and knocking of arrows. Who goes there?
Weary travellers from the front.
What's your business?
We are returning the body of a soldier.
Oh, Jesus. Give me a moment. You see, a sergeant up on the wall gives a nod to two people further down, and you hear the clicking of machinery. And um, a moment later, you hear bells begin to toll in all of the churches in the town, and this enormous stone block rises far enough for you to drive your cart through. Fort Morgan is a reasonably sized town bordering on a city, and the sergeant on the wall comes down to meet you and says, "Thank you. We got the message from Daniels. I'm Sergeant McLean. Nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
You'd be wanting to take him to General McCoy's office. She's up in the town hall. We'll send a couple of lads to show you the way, all right?" And yeah, a couple of soldiers, probably privates, start to form an honor guard. And with the bells tolling, you see more of the citizens of Fort Morgan, not just the irregulars, the soldiers, but also civilians, begin to trickle out of their houses into the streets. Right. Working? Yeah, there we go. As the beetle steps and draws the cart upwards up the hill, you can see there are a few, then a couple, and then dozens, and then hundreds of people step out of their front doors, even at this early moment in the morning, alerted by the bells, to welcome back the Angel of Fort Morgan. You can see that in a few places, rush garlands, and in a few places, fresh flowers, which are unbelievably expensive to grow out here in the Outlands, are being thrown in front of the beetle and the cart as they travel. And there is utter silence throughout the city, only broken by the tolling of the bells and the creak of the wagon wheels as you bring the body up towards the town hall. As you reach it, it's a squat stone building, almost certainly created by magic. In the early days of the occupation of Volan by humans, a lot of such structures were built by transmutation wizards who could sculpt stone into whatever shape they desired. The wooden buildings followed later, but wood's expensive out here. And you pull up in front of, the town hall. A pair of guards with spears stamp and salute at the door. And a woman walks out. Like a, like a brigandine coat and one of those sort of Napoleonic War kind of gold thread across, and a lot of this long blue coat with, quite similar to Lillian's, the metal plates underneath. She's wearing a Stetson and carries a saber at her side.
And force of habit, she'll get a salute from Will.
She gives you a nod you're honestly quite familiar with, like a commanding officer to a subordinate. It's very instinctive for you both. She takes the hat off, says, "I am General McCoy. Thank you. Please." And she beckons you in. There's a few of like the top brass of Fort Morgan around who have sort of been summoned while you were making your way through the city. And the two privates at the door and the two who were sent to escort you through the city go to the cart, pick up the pine box containing Carter's body, and lift it in. There has been a beer set up in the town hall for people to come pay their respects. And in fact, as it's laid down on this, what is essentially a dining table that's been covered in like runners, you can sense that people are trying to crowd in and follow in to pay their respects. And McCoy begins to clear her throat to speak. And then suddenly you all hear What the fuck's going on? Let me out of here! From inside the pine box.
He's not dead.